Hi, Gates. Welcome to Portugal. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to travel a part of Portugal that I don't know at all. I'm very pleasantly surprised by it. I'm from Durban, South Africa originally, now living in Cape Town. Grew up on the beaches, and my time at school, I shared a lot with the Portuguese community. So I grew up in a high school that had about half the students were Portuguese that had come out of either Angola or Mozambique, and a lot of Portuguese had settled and made home in South Africa at the time in the 70s and 80s. So I've always had this connection with Portugal. I grew up surfing in Durban, as I said. I was fascinated with the ocean and the waves. Chose the sport of kneeboard surfing, which is a little bit counterculture, but it was something that appealed to me. And I guess the life lesson of it is that if you focus on something you chase it with your passion, it'll always reward you. And it's been an incredible journey for me, becoming a world champion of the sport, which was something that we didn't think was possible at the time because we were caught up in the time of apartheid and we were excluded from world sport. So for everything to change with Nelson Mandela coming out of prison and eventually becoming president would see a huge change in the country, and then also an acceptance of South Africa back into world sport. And it really just happened that journey of acceptance back onto the international platform as a young South African, I was in the right place at the right time and ended up becoming world champion of the sport a number of times, which then would obviously open up many other doors as far as traveling and being within the surfing realm, all the way to making my way to Vagos and to your beautiful beach right here in 2018.
So, what keeps you motivated to surf, especially kneeboarding these days, after all these years?
It's a good question. I won't tell you how many years, but as I said, I think that when you find something that resonates with you, I would imagine that musicians may experience the same thing, or various artists. Certainly people will know very early on they have a calling to a career. It was just something, riding waves was just a place that I just felt a fullness in my soul. And so it's really easy to keep chasing it because it's something that sat very well with me as a young guy. And I know that it was a real thing that touched me because I find it still so easy to chase that passion. A lot of people might say you haven't grown up, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But certainly the ocean, the beach, the lifestyle, the place where community comes to the edge of a continent and shares with the ocean, I think is always a very happy place. I think that it is a very uplifting place for society, for people, and it's always been certainly my happy place. So to keep chasing that and pursuing that, I find very easy.
So it's not your first time in Portugal. So you've been traveling to Portugal a few times, but it's your first time up north, Aveiro, especially this area, Aveiro. So what are your thoughts on these sort of spots, different from Niche, this side, in down south, at the southwest of Algarve?
So well, first, to give you a background history, I mentioned that I was at school with a lot of Portuguese people, so it was something that was kind of already planted and stirred for me. In 1987, in the middle of the exclusion of South Africa from world sport, culturally the Portugal people would reach out to South Africa as a nation and say, would you like to come and share and exchange some cultural exchanges? So I was lucky to come here as a teenager in 1987, and the South African surfing team, although not an official team, would be very warmly welcomed by the Portuguese, and we traveled a lot of the coast. So just to give you that history is that I'd been here long before surfing had become a huge explosion. And already back then I could see the potential of the Portuguese coastline, the waves themselves. Many years later, I get to talk about the sport, I get to travel, and I get to be involved with surfing events, and been lucky to now revisit Portugal a number of times in the last years. But this region, I had no idea what was north of Peniche, so to speak. So for the town to open itself up like this and to really show me what is a huge potential in the area is very eye-opening. As I said, to me, this stretch of coast really is a playground. There's great waves, you've got the beach location, you've got your waterway behind. I would imagine that you could easily really have a great holiday here and totally build your holiday and your lifestyle around the beach experience here.
So what's your message for people that want to try to start surfing around, for new kids that want to pretty much surf on this area?
Well, firstly, we spoke of the potential of the beaches, we spoke of the potential of the infrastructure. Everything is in place here in Vagos, and you have the surf schools available, you have the surf shops, you have the great restaurants, the great cafeterias. So the location is already so well primed for young kids. As far as going to the beach goes, and that, like I said, to me, it's always been the epitome of a happy, healthy place. So to get kids out from behind television screens and out from behind their electronics and their phones and their TV games, and to get them to balance, I think the beach is a very good place for kids to hang in that. And certainly the benefits of using the beach to help the youth with a healthy lifestyle choice, I think, is a very smart thing. And certainly it has a lot of potential here in this area.
Okay, so will we see you back again to Vagueira? Are you coming back after these just 2 days?
So, firstly, visiting in the autumn like this, I want to come back in the summer and I want to experience the vibe and the potential of this place when it is one of those beautiful summer days. I can understand why many people would choose to come and holiday here, and certainly now that I have seen the beach location itself, the surrounding area and the potential of it, it's certainly a place I want to come back to.
Gigs, it was a pleasure, and thank you very much for the surf over all these years.
Muito obrigado.